don't get married if you're not willing to lock it up, to have boundaries. I'm so serious because I don't think people realize a lot of the chaos that they have in their relationship is because they don't have boundaries.
Yeah.
They don't have boundaries with their family. They don't have boundaries with their job. They don't have boundaries with coworkers. Boundaries in life, just period. They don't have any kind of boundaries with friends, exes and all that kind of stuff like that. And they just feel like that their spouse should just understand that I had a life before you. So you should just understand that this person is so important to me. Here it is. Once you get married, you have a whole new life, a whole new world. Like it is only you and that person. This is your new family. This is your life now. Okay. And that's all that matters. All right. So it's time to say goodbye to some of those old friends and family.
Yeah.
I said what I said.
No, I'm cool with that. I'm agree 100%. When we talk about boundaries in marriage and why I think that part's bothering me. Our boundaries are important. I feel like
Really?
it's a mic. Yeah. We talk about boundaries in marriage. I mean, very simple. Let's talk about boundaries. If you're about to cross a bridge, do you feel better about crossing that bridge if there are railings on the side or if it's wide open and you could just slide right off?
I need railings. I need high walls. I hate bridges.
I need
definitely bridges.
Let's say a house.
Railings.
You got two houses in front of you that you're going to buy, and they both get the same amount of room, beautifully decorated on the inside, turnkey house, and one has windows that close and one is just at the open holes in the wall. Which one do you feel safer with? Which house would you feel better?
Obviously, one with windows, maybe bars on, depending on where you're living.
Seems obvious, right? Like I'm saying something that seems obvious, right? I mean, in the military, you're wearing body armor, and things like that. You feel better about that. Then it's like, we're not gonna put anything on you. We feel like if you're a really brave soldier, just hop out there with your weapon, but no body armor, no gear. Just hop out there on the front lines. You'll be all right. You don't need no more than that. You would feel a little weird about that if you weren't provided with some body armor. So, in all these things, what we're talking about here is safety and boundary, security. Yeah. And so, if in those situations that makes sense, it should make sense with marriage. No, you don't feel very secure getting into it. And there are a lot of people who are afraid of getting married for this reason because they're afraid of what happens if they cheat on me. What happens if, there's someone other than what I thought. And it's like trying to cross that bridge with no railings on it. It's like, yeah, I understand why you don't want to cross this bridge because you do feel like one wrong turn, one gust of wind. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a very good driver. Listen very carefully here. You've given out the best driver in the world. You still wouldn't feel safe crossing a bridge with no railings, with no barriers. Because even if you're the best driver in the world, there are other people on that bridge that you can't account for their skills.
Yeah,
you can't account for their intentions.
Absolutely.
They could be having a bad day. They could try to ram you off that bridge. You can't account for the gusts of wind when you're at a high. You can't account for if you're not having your best day. You're a little sleepy that day. You're crossing that bridge. There's all kinds of factors and scenarios more than just you. And so you're like, put some barriers on that bridge, and then I feel a little safer. Even though you may never, ever. Someone driving here, everyone watching right now has probably never, hopefully, run into the barriers on the road. You probably never crossed the lane and hit something or have somebody or hit a median. Maybe never have done it, but you still feel safer with it there than if it wasn't there. Okay? You hope that you never need them, but you'd rather have them there than not have them there. And that's my opinion on marriage.
Here's the thing. Let's just kind of take off the word safety. I don't know if people can correlate having boundaries and safety in a marriage, because boundaries, when I think about boundaries in a relationship, it's about what's going to protect the marriage. I guess that is safety, but like I'm talking about if you had friends, right before you got married, you had girls that were friends, which I don't know why, but if you had these girlfriends that were your friends before you got married to me, now you're married to me, I should be the only person, the only woman in your life. You shouldn't feel like you should have to go and run and consult your friends and they got something to say about what we do.
Yeah.
That is an improper boundary. Yeah. And for us, it was, listen, if she can't be my friend, now that we're married, then she's not a friend that you can have.
Yeah.
Because there is no exclusivity, I can't say that word right, outside of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of boundaries that we have to start setting in our relationships, because I've seen relationships where women have guy friends before they got married. Oh, this is my friend, and we've been friends since we was in kindergarten, blah blah blah, whatever. And he'll mean no harm, whatever. But your man feel threatened by him, or just don't like his vibe, or whatever the case may be, or don't like the fact that you run to him for advice and y'all hanging out and stuff like that. And it's like, and you feel like your husband shouldn't feel a certain way about that because they should just understand. And you would never have what we have. Like, that's bull. Drop that mess.
Yeah.
Like, the objective of marriage is to become one. And you can't become one when you got everybody else in the mix.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, again, you go back to the definition of marriage in Genesis 2, is a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave into his wife. Like, even there, it mentions that in order for marriage to happen, you have to leave certain relationships that you had before to cleave to this one relationship.
Exactly.
So apparently even God believes that the only way you can become one is with only two people. You add one extra person in there, it stops working.
Exactly.
You can't become one out of three people. Only with two people can you become one.
Yeah.
And he says you got to leave your father and mother. Not saying you X them out of your life, like, I don't communicate with you no more, but you have to leave them, detach from that relationship to attach this relationship with your spouse to build something here. You can't prioritize your parents over your spouse.
Exactly.
That's one of the hugest ones. It's not even, I see that a lot, especially with men when they typically raised by like a single mom situation.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the most jeopardized relationships. It ain't even all his females in his life. It's the female's the problem is his mom.
You're right.
He's like,
Mom is
she
everything.
takes priority over everything. And he'll run and jump and do whatever she needs because he's the man in her life. And it's like, no, you got to be the man and woman in his life. I'm sorry. That's, you can only do this to one person. If you want to do that to your mama, then stay in your mama's house. Hopefully she can meet all your needs.
Yeah, there's a right way to honor your mother. Just like, my father has passed away. So my brother, he's taken on the man of the family role. But he's married. But even in that, I mean, my mom, she's a good mom. And she understands how these boundaries work.
She's a very stable woman.
Yeah. But if my mama needs something and within reason, he's going to help her get those things.
One thing I've always loved about your mom in our relationship too, whenever she needs, well, I can't speak for them, but I'm saying for us, like whenever she needs you for something or even needs me to help with something like around the house, she'll ask, is it okay? Like, are y'all in the middle of something? Do your spouse need you? Is it okay? Can I do this? Like, whatever. Yeah. She'll always ask permission, even though she's your mom and she had authority over your life for the first however many years of your life when you're in her household. She immediately respected that transition. Yeah. That's because she had a stable, good marriage. So she knew how that worked, So it's good when you can have those relationships. But sometimes when you're getting married to people and it's always good to investigate that relationship with family because that right there could be the biggest danger and transgression of your boundaries. And it's not even that the risk is cheating or infidelity. The risk, we're going to get into it, but the risk is your inability to ever properly cleave to one another and to build something because you're still holding on to what came before. And for a lot of people, I've seen it. People put posts like, who comes first, your wife or your mom? And I see grown men in the comments like, no, that's my mama. She comes first. And I'm like, you have lost your mind. Like, please, like, women stay with him from a 10-foot pole. We want to hit this comment. We just
Cozy Crochet said, one of our boundaries are we don't let family or friends come between our alone time. Lock the kids up in the room if that's what it takes.
Lock them kids up in a heartbeat. Let me tell you this. It is not you against your spouse. It's you and your spouse against your kids. Exactly. They're the enemy. Don't let your children come between you and your loved one.
No, but that's a good one. Like children boundary.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, this boundary conversation.
They respect zero boundaries.
Exactly. They have zero boundaries. But this is a real one. Half the time when you start having children, especially for mothers, they really feel like the children come first and they neglect the relationship. When you have to realize that it's always going to be you and your spouse. Because the kid's going to grow up one day and leave the house.
I just realized a vicious cycle. We were just talking about moms and sons.
Yeah.
It can happen with anybody. But then you just mentioned, so it's like a vicious cycle that continues because the mom has a child, she becomes a mother, and then she attaches to that child more than she does to the husband. And then that child attaches to the mom more than their spouse. And it's just a vicious cycle that continues. That's crazy.
It is crazy. But that's what really happens. So we don't have proper boundaries. So therefore, the marriage is always going to be the one that's going to suffer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you say, well, I got to pay attention to the kids. I got to put all my attention on them. And it's like, no, you don't. Yes, take care of the kids. You do what's right unto them. But you got to make them understand that if daddy and mom ain't good, ain't nobody good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the real thing.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, when kids grow up and they leave the family, because listen, kids are selfish. They're inherently selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Even as teenagers, young adults, they're selfish.
Yep.
And, you know, it's just how kids are wired. We were once kids and selfish and
Yep.
stuff like that. And you can pour so much into your children, and then they grow up and leave, and now you left with nothing.
Exactly.
Because you've neglected your relationship. You neglected self-development.
Mm-hmm.
And now what?
Yep.
And because you didn't have proper boundaries with your own children.
Yep.
And it can be challenging. It can be difficult because, you know, our emotions are tied to it and things like that. But we've always said, look, it's always going to be us. Our son, he's 5. Right now, he's locked up in his room while we do this live now. I mean, he's good. Like, we make sure he's good and settled, and he can break in anytime he needs to. But it's just that he understands that, son, as much as we love you, and we're going to give you our undivided attention when it's necessary,
Mm-hmm.
but daddy and mommy come first.
Yeah. I've never seen a child neglected because the parents prioritize a good marriage.
Yeah.
I've seen children neglected because people prioritize career, people prioritize ministry, church, people prioritize other relationships because they never got all their singleness out, so they out there trying to party and things like that. I've seen lots of people neglect their children many things, but I've never seen a neglect situation happen where the parents are focusing on their marriage and their relationship together. That strengthens it because every child, for some reason, it's hardwired in us. We feel the most insecure and unsafe when our parents are at friction, when they're arguing, when they're unhappy. If your parents ever got separated, divorced, that's when your world became unsafe. And I mean, growing up, if my parents were ever arguing, whatever, I felt like I was tense and things like that.
Yeah.
So even though I was a self-centered child, I was concerned about playing video games, reading books, all the stuff I wanted to do. Whenever they weren't good, that always shook my world.
Yeah, even our son, and we don't argue, but if we have any kind of disagreement, anything he don't understand,
Or we get loud, he'll
We
run
get
in there and
loud.
tell us to that be loud.
Yeah,
he thinks
he-
we're arguing or something.
exactly, like he's like, no, I can't do it. What is wrong? And if he see me crying for any reason at all, it's like, what is happening to my world? That's basically how he's responding.
I mean, again, it might be self-centered, but it's like, hold up. What's going on?
So your children benefit
Yeah.
when you prioritize your marriage over them. Again, we're not saying neglect your kids, but you do neglect your children when you don't prioritize your relationship.
Yep. Just like you tell moms, if you neglect the health of your body trying to
Yeah.
take care of your kids, you're neglecting your kids because your kids need you for the long term. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And again, at some point, whether it's 18, 20, whatever, your kids are going to, at some point, separate and live their own lives. And what are you going to be left with after that? A marriage you don't want? That's why there's this curve of like satisfaction in marriage that just like drops off and everything. Once the kids are gone, you
People
empty
get divorced
nest,
at
and it's like
20 years, 30
Yeah.
years been married, but now all the kids are gone. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we can divorce. Like, what the heck is that?
Like that's sad. You don't want that.
Yeah.
You should desire better and deserve better than that. So let's get into some of the. I mean, we touched a lot of these points. But we're going to break it down one by one to help you understand here. So one of the keys of boundaries and a boundary is priority.
Yeah.
We touched on it already. Prioritize the relationship with your spouse above all else.
Amen.
I remember we were preparing for our wedding and we were putting together the invitations, and your mom was helping us. So we were all in her house and just putting together invitations and everything. And she was just, just giving wise motherly marriage advice, just kind of
Sage
talking.
wisdom.
And one thing she said is never put the ministry above each other. She was like, God's not requiring that of you.
Yeah.
Always keep your marriage tight. The ministry will suffer before your marriage should suffer. And we took that to heart,
Yeah.
So we say that this relationship takes priority over any organization, whether that's ministry, like this YouTube channel, church, our jobs. It does not matter what it is. If something is harming the integrity of this relationship, then I think it has to stop or go out the way. Or even if that thing isn't what's causing the problem, but you got too many things going on in life, and that stress is what's breaking down y'all's intimacy and
sometimes
communication.
you got too much going on, and you're just too stressed out to be intimate with one another. I'm not talking about just sexually. Yes, that is highly affected, but you're just not communicating.
Yeah.
All you're doing is just saying, oh, what's the bills, the kids, the schedule of your life.
Yeah.
But you're not really getting to know one another. And because the thing is, we're constantly evolving and changing as people the longer we're together, right? But if you never tune in and say, hey, what's going on? What's different? What's changed?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Is this working for you? And then 10 years down the road, you're like, I didn't know you felt that way.
Yeah.
I didn't know you thought that. We see this all the time.
Yeah.
That's why we have constant check-ins. And sometimes it's awkward because it'd be like 10 to 11 o'clock at night before I go to bed. I'm like, babe, look at my eyes. What's going on? Are you okay? Because you have to just pause and just stop and check in on your marriage.
Yeah. So everything in your life has to be conditional. The only thing that's not conditional is your marriage. Like, we're hella high water. We're going to be here. If the whole world.
King Dale's in the room.
Yes.
Hey,
What's up? Say, hey. Yeah. If you're watching, we got a couple lurkers. If you're watching, comment. Let us know where you're watching from.
Lurkers.
Say hi at least. Like the stream. Yeah. Everybody here like the stream. Throw some hearts on there. I guess that helps you to push it out. So everything else is conditional. If a meteor is hitting the earth, we're still going to be married. You know what I'm saying? So everything else is conditional. That's actually, think about it this way. Whenever you're thinking about all the cares of life, you might have bill issues, right? Bills, something going on with your kids, something going on with health, something going on with family, something going on with church. There's a million things going wrong in life. But if an asteroid came at the earth right now and it came across the news, this asteroid is going to hit, all life on earth is getting wiped out, game over, we're done in about 24 hours. There's nothing you can do. There are no bunkers, we're done. I want you to realize that every problem that you had right before you heard that announcement is now, doesn't matter, inconsequential.
It doesn't matter at all.
But guess what? You're still married.
You're still married.
You're still married. Whatever argument y'all was having no longer matters because the world's over in 24 hours. But guess what? We're still married. So I want you to think about that the only thing that's really internal is this marriage for as long as we're alive. So prioritize that above all else. Everything else is conditional. Your job is conditional. If your job is getting in the way, it's time for you to sit down and say, okay, maybe I need a different line of work. Maybe we need to take some time and figure out if I need to do something different because this isn't working for our relationship. Priority. First boundary in a relationship is priority between you and your spouse. All right. Next point of boundary is vigilance. And you never stop doing this one. You never stop doing any of these. But here's what I'm saying with vigilance. You got to have this reality. Every day you wake up in the morning is that the devil wants to destroy your marriage. And why do we know this to be true? We're not just saying that, just talking that. It's because the first thing the devil did was destroy a marriage.
Yep.
In human history, the first thing he did was destroy a marriage. It was a revelation to me. You're the one that told me that. You were like, that moment when Adam and Eve turned on one another and blamed, he blamed her and then she blamed the serpent and there was a diversion of their viewpoints. You said that was the first divorce. And I realized, like, dang, that's right. That was the first divorce.
Absolutely. It was one piece of advice that I don't remember who I heard it from, but it was like the first year of your marriage, you really need to just kind of stay to yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you don't talk to people or anything like that, but really take that time to like nurture your marriage and really just strive to become one in everything that you do. And because it'll make you stronger. And then when you come out of that first year, you'll be able to have what it takes to handle these boundaries with your family and with friends and things like that. Because as much as I love my family and I know that they're for me, I'm so blessed to have really good family. I could not have asked for better family and friends. Like our friend circle, is so tight and we love them so much because they also practice boundaries in their relationship. So it makes it easy to deal with them because when we're like, hey, we're taking some time off or we need some alone time, they're not, pushing like, girl, he got you in that house like that. They're not striving for or vying for, that's the word I'm looking for, vying for our attention unnaturally. You know what I mean? Like if you got a woman who really loves her husband and talks about him a lot of times she get a lot of flack for that. Like, what's wrong with you? Why you always talking about your husband like that? You ain't got no friends. Like they think that he's doing something to her because she's so enamored by him. What is wrong with that? I mean, you are my best friend.
Yeah.
And I have some really good girlfriends, but you are my best friend. If there's one person on the planet that I would love to hang around, it's going to be you. And I don't see what's wrong with that at all.
Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with it. Again,
I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just saying that there are a lot of, I guess I would say dissatisfied women who don't understand that, and they kind of think that it's abuse even.
Well, yeah, and it goes because look, maybe they dealt with some actual abuse or bad men or fathers or men in their lives or whatever, and so as a result, they're just very wary of all men. And again, it goes back to the curse that's been placed. That's what it comes down to. But they don't. But people with broken relationships don't understand healthy relationships.
Yeah,
it's just the reality of it. And so sometimes you gotta. And one of the keys of boundaries is privacy.
Yes.
You got to
Come on
keep
now.
your relationship private.
Yes, you
There are
do.
aspects of relationships that just can't. I mean, even us, like, although we're up here and we talk about a lot of things, and yes, we're now required to talk about a honeymoon or anything like that. There's a lot of things we keep private.
Yes.
You got to keep your issues private. If
Yeah.
y'all beefing and having issues and y'all going through a rough time right now amongst each other, no one needs to know about it.
Especially certain faith projects.
Yeah. Certain
you
things you're
know,
believing for.
That you're believing for. You keep that to yourself.
Yeah. Now, if you got counsel, guidance that you're getting, stuff like that, but I'm talking about the rest of the world and even some friends, things like that, you need to keep stuff like that safe.
Yeah.
You got to keep it protected, especially when things are like, if you believe in God for something, when things are in seed form, not everybody's always going to understand it.
Yeah.
You know, but if you heard from God, you got to work from the Lord, you got your guidance, then run with it. And sometimes you got to keep that project secret until it's time to reveal it, because it's still, it needs to be kept safe. Everything that's important, including marriage, needs to be kept safe
It does.
in its infant stage. And then again, if you're having issues between each other, everybody needs to not know that, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, people complain about their spouses a lot. Most people, they gonna stay with them.
Yeah.
They gonna get over it. But here's the problem. And I get it from somebody else, another marriage coach. But they were like, the problem is, especially with family, if you talk bad about your spouse to your family while you're heated, an hour later you're over it because you got it out and you made up with your spouse. But
now the
that family member
yep.
hasn't forgotten.
Yeah.
They're going to remember, and that stuff's going to keep stacking up.
Yeah.
And they're going to remember and have this twisted image of who your spouse is that you don't even truly believe. You just be
Yeah.
venting.
Yeah.
But now they look at your spouse as an enemy, as a threat. So
Yeah.
you really got to be very cautious about that. And it's like, well, I need someone to confide in. And look, maybe I'm not the best person to go to on this, but I confide in you.
Yeah.
Even when I have issues with you, I confide in you about my issues with you. So it's like, I'm sorry, like, she's my best friend. She's my confidant, you know? So it's like, I really don't have people that I run to talk to about my wife. I don't. So that's the thing. So it's never been an issue for me. And again, you know, I know people feel like they got to vent and things like that, but I keep those things in place between our marriage, because that's the safe
Yeah,
zone.
and I mean,
You know?
even if what you're doing I don't like, and I'm not talking about abuse, y'all. Please do not think that I'm promoting abuse. If you're being abused by your spouse physically and something he or she is doing to you that's harmful, get out, run, okay? But I'm talking about, for instance, he don't take the garbage out the way I want. Let's just use that as a mild example. But if I'm constantly complaining to other people about my spouse all the time about this issue that I don't like, and I'm tearing his character down about it, I'm not calling my mom about it. I'm not calling his mom about it. I'm not telling everybody, oh, this is his problem. This is his flaw. This is a problem. Because how is he ever going to be able to overcome that issue when everybody know he got this problem? You know what I mean? Like that's not fair to him. Not fair to your spouse to expose them like that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for them to overcome when everybody got their eyes on them, and then everybody got an opinion about them.
Yeah, it's very hard. I mean, that's hard
Yeah.
for anybody in any situation like that.
I try not to even do that to my 5-year-old.
Oh yeah,
And
that happens to kids all
that's
the time.
challenging because he's 5, and obviously he's learning and growing. He don't know boundaries and all those things, but there are certain things that we won't share with our family about him that he's going through or learning, because teaching him that it's okay to trust his parents with his secrets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With things he's dealing with.
Yeah.
And your spouse got to know that you can be trusted. I was reading Cozy Crochet's comment, and she said, I am glad I was delivered from telling people my business. I am a yapper, so it was hard. Now I just snitch on my husband to God. LOL. I learned to shut up and pray.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the best way to snitch on your husband or your spouse. Because I used to always tell God about Jalen. And I'm like, he ain't doing right. He ain't figured it out. Lord, help him. And sometimes it was just some things I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Because you weren't open to hear it from me. So I was like, Lord, help my man. And God always did. So.
Yeah. And what I was saying was that, you know, God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you reap. If you're sowing the seeds of being a good wife or being a good husband, and your spouse isn't reciprocating their responsibilities correctly, it's God's responsibility to get a hold of their heart.
Yeah.
And I've heard stories of that, man, where people were doing the right thing and God just broke through boundaries of stuff. I think it was Smith Wigglesworth. He's a great man of God, 19th, 20th century. And he was just being evil to his wife because she had gotten saved and was going to church. He didn't want to go no more. He tried to kick her out the house. And she just continued to be a loving, submissive wife to that man. In situations where most of us today would be like, you need to leave that man. But it would have been wrong necessarily.
Yeah, it would not have been wrong.
But she just decided to sow the seeds and do what the word said. And she got results. He became one of the greatest ministers of the gospel ever, miracles, raising from the dead, all that stuff. God transformed his heart. I heard another story. Now, this man was telling the story. He was the preacher who had counseled this couple. And the story goes like this. The woman was married to this man. She was saved. I guess he wasn't. And he had just gone way off the deep end. He was cheating on her with a mistress, but he would like come home and eat food with his wife, but then go to the mistress' house, spend the rest of the night with her.
And the girl couldn't
like
cook.
Just complete disrespect.
Side chick couldn't cook.
So
shame.
Just complete disrespect in the relationship. And the woman came to the pastor and was like, okay, what should I do? And he was like, my advice to you is to leave this man. You have every right. He is cheating on you. Jesus gave you that right. You divorce this man. And she was like, no, I want this marriage. I want this to work. And he said, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm not telling you that. It's what you want to do. Then this is what the word says to do. He said, begin to treat that man as if he's doing everything right. Treat him as a godly husband as the word commands.
Exactly.
And so she was like cooking him the best meals, treating him right, all this stuff. It might have been like a week or two later. They both come into his office for the next session. And he's sitting there like, yeah, I'm starting to feel bad now because she's treating me so nice. And the pastor who is doing the counseling is thinking to himself, you jerk, like, I don't care how you feel. Like, wow, boo-hoo that you feel bad. And he admits what he's doing and everything. And he begins to counsel them. Long story short, they become a couple preaching the gospel, traveling the world, preaching about marriage. Transformed their entire marriage. Transformed him.
Yeah.
He realized, he saw the error of his ways. There's another story, and this was like less heavy, and this might be more the speed of, the couples in the chat right now. But she wanted him to do stuff around the house. And it was very simple. Like, I need him to, like, he took forever to build the deck or something like that. He said he would. And he just keeps putting it off. I keep nagging him about it. He won't do it. And she came to like a run-by counseling session with the pastor. Was like, look, what should I do? He was like, stop asking him about it. Stop asking him to do it. And he might have said something else like, begin to thank him and praise him for all the stuff that he is doing. But just stop bothering him and nagging him about what he hasn't done yet. Yeah. Like, very short time later, she comes back and say he finally did the deck. And so these principles that are in the word about how to handle people, about how to handle your spouse, it's not just because it's a good moral thing to do. It's the law of reciprocation, seed time and harvest. The Lord is telling you, if you do these things, this is how you get the results you want. I'm not just telling you nice stuff so that you can suffer in silence. I'm telling you how to get results, how to get people to change is by getting the Holy Spirit's opportunity to get in there and get to their heart.
Well, it takes a special, I won't say special. It takes a developed type of character in order to really operate in marriage the right way.
Yeah.
Now, these stories you told, like especially the one where the husband was cheating on the wife and stuff like that. Again, we're not saying that you should stay with your spouse. If they're cheating on you, you have every right to leave. Okay, it might be for your health benefit to leave. Situation like that. But if you have gone before the Lord and you're being obedient to an instruction, follow the instruction and God give you grace to go through that. If that's what you believe the Lord is telling you to do. Because obedience is better than anything else you can ever do. However, it takes a certain kind of character to persevere in marriage.
Yeah.
Because marriage will bring certain tests and trials, and it's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require serving each other. It's going to require you to get rid of your selfishness. It takes a lot from you, which is okay, because the idea of marriage, again, is to become one. And the hope is that if both parties are developing and they're spending time with the Lord and they're laying down themselves and they're doing this thing the right way, the ultimate thing is they're going to become something useful for the kingdom of God. They're going to become something so powerful. And it's not about sitting on a podcast teaching about marriage. It's not about standing in the pulpit preaching. It's about affecting your surrounding community, affecting your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Like, your marriage is going to affect the people around you.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know who's watching. There's a couple to this day. Well, the wife has passed on, and I have a regret that I never went to them and talked to them face to face. But we frequent a place often annually, and I would see this couple together. And, in passing, I would talk to them. I didn't know them intimately. But I would sit back and I would watch how they would interact. And they were an older couple. And it would minister to me just how they entreated one another. Mm-hmm. And how much he loved on her. And, I mean, she was giddy for him. And I'm talking about they were seniors, And I'm like, man, I really want that. And it's before I even got married. And this is probably one of the things that really steered me and said, Lord, this is what I want in my relationship. If it ain't like this, then I don't want it. But their marriage blessed me just by watching them and observing them. You never know who's watching. So I prayed for that type of relationship. I prayed and said, I want a man who loved me like that. I always want to be in love with my spouse. I always want to be best friends with him. Like I want whatever that is, I want that. Now, I knew them to be believers, so I know that made the difference. But she passed on several years ago, but they were married for a very long time, and anybody that knew them always talked about their relationship. Mm-hmm. So your marriage can be a blessing to someone, or your marriage can be a point of fear reference. Yeah. Because there are a lot of people who are not married today, a lot of people who are scared to get married because I don't want to happen to me what happened to Aunt Susie, or
that happens a lot with parents.
Or happen to my mom and dad. Like, I don't want that. So they stay away from relationships. Now they may dibble and dabble because the flesh needs some stuff, but they never want to be in something committed like marriage. Yeah. So your marriage can either be a hindrance or a blessing to people. But just keep your business in your house. You ain't gotta tell your business all over town. Mm-hmm. You don't have to. How much you pay for something, what y'all doing all the time. I mean, like, you know what you should just keep to yourself. Yeah. Just keep it to yourself.
And sometimes you have inside jokes and things like that. Like, just, it's something that only between the two of you. Yeah. That's special. Next key is exclusivity. All right. Your relationship must be exclusive. You mentioned we don't do open marriages here.
We do not.
And
close your marriage.
Everybody wants exclusivity sexually, right? I don't want you sleeping with somebody else.
Well,
but
most people do. Well, normal people do.
If you have a marriage, anything where you don't, if you go into a marriage and say, I don't want that, you're not married. Because one of the keys of marriage is sexual intimacy. So everybody's cool with that, but
look, I'm so serious. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so serious about keeping our sex life private that I don't even like people in my bedroom.
Like physically, it's over your house.
I just don't like. Yeah, my room is sacred. Like, I feel like my bedroom is it's our space. Yeah. And I don't really like people in my room. Yeah,
see that. That's probably a good sign of something.
And I mean, there's been a couple of times where your family had to come over and maybe install something in our your brother
do a TV,
put our TV up, and your dad and mom helped us install our fan in our room, stuff like that, because they're handy like that. But I felt a certain kind of way. Yeah. And not that they're my family. I love them, and not that they're thinking weird stuff. At least I don't think so. But it's just like my room. This is my safe, sacred space. It's our space. Yeah. And that's how serious I am about keeping our stuff under wraps.
No, you got to keep certain things exclusive. And
that's just me. I don't know how y'all feel about people being in your bedroom.
Yeah. Not saying that it's like a terrible thing or anything, but it's just, you kind of, everybody's got their thing, but you got to keep certain things exclusive. Like even your communication, there's certain things you talk about your spouse and talk about other people. Yeah. Like there are people who put on an outfit and will text it to somebody else of the opposite sex. Like, yeah, this is my outfit. Like, what? Like, there are things that just should stay between you and your spouse. Like, I only want my wife's opinion on how I smell, how I'm dressed. Mm-hmm. There's no one of the opposite sex that I'm interested in getting their opinion on these things. There's certain things that are exclusive. That's just between me and her. I only want her opinions on certain things. And I'm definitely not sharing anything close to my heart with other people. Like, if I'm going through a rough time right now, it's different if I'm confiding with my brothers in the Lord or my physical brother, something like that. But I'm not going to opposite sex about, I'm having a hard time right now, things with family, or a hard time at work. I'm not doing that. I go to my wife for that. Yeah. It's either going to be my brothers or it's going to be my wife. And, it even gets to the point of like, and sometimes you got to guard yourself based on your personality. You know, you mentioned like having a bunch of friends, like a bunch of girls, things like that. You know, you gotta know yourself before you got married, right? Your whole personality didn't change when you got married. Were you a flirt before you got married? Were you a little promiscuous? Did you like male attention if you're a female? Did you like female attention when you were a man? Like, did you have a lot of friends of the opposite sex? Like, what was your personality like? Because that doesn't immediately disappear. And you got to know certain things that's like, you know what? It's not smart for me to engage in these behaviors.
Yeah.
Because it activates things from my past that I need to put a shield up against. So for me, growing up in high school and things like that,
He was a flirt.
I was a little flirty.
No, not little.
I had a lot of friends
lot
that were
flirty.
females.
A lot flirty.
It was just
He was flirty.
call it charm, whatever.
He was poetic.
That was
He had these big old eyes with the eyelashes and
okay.
stuff. So
Now
you was
you're
using
belching
it.
it
No, I'm telling the truth. That's what I'm doing.
All right, but
Praise God.
funny. So that was kind of me, you know. So after I got married, and even after I got engaged, we got a relationship. There are certain things that just decided, okay, I'm not going to engage a certain way in certain things, and so. One example, early on when I was, working in the workplace, I had a job at a desk, and people, like, it was a storefront, and they had hired a new person in a different department. So they worked in the back, but it was a young woman, and
A young female.
she was very, like, I don't know where it's talkative, but very vulnerable. Like, she would just talk and kind of cheery, and just like, it would be very easy to get in conversation with this person. Probably a very good conversationalist. And I peeped that pretty fast. So I was like, okay, Jalen, be careful here. Not saying she had any idea. As far as I knew, she was in a relationship with somebody. But I was like, don't allow yourself to just get in some runaway conversations.
Do not play with fire.
But I found out that there was this obstacle course race that's pretty popular that I had done once. And I found out that she was training for one. I had done one a couple of years ago. And I found out.
It's called the Spartan race.
Do
You
other
can say,
people? Well, I'm not trying to this person may be watching this thing. Dang.
Spartan race.
Okay, whatever. Fine. Spartan race. So I found out that she was training for this thing, right? And so that's a very easy conversational piece. And I could have been like, hey, I trained for this. What are your experiences? You're about to do this for the first time, or want any advice?
But here's the caveat to that.
Here's
the caveat is that you've been asking me to do the Spartan race for years. I'm like, no, I'm not about to crawl in mud. It's not.
I ain't thought about that angle. But
it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So it will
good
be.
Point.
I'm saying the devil can set you up from all angles.
That's a very good.
Now
point.
I like to work out and lift weights. We can do that all day, but crawling in mud and swimming in dirty water and signing waivers that say if you get attacked by a bear on this course, and it's not our fault. I'm not about that kind of life.
There are no bears out there.
But they did. Did you not sign a waiver?
I don't remember the waiver saying anything about bears.
But still, it's like if you die in this course, it ain't our fault. That's not my kind of thing. I don't get off on that kind of stuff. So, but this girl, she liked that kind of stuff. So that could appeal to you based off of your interest.
See, the devil's really good at getting you to be satisfied with your spouse.
Yeah.
A second after you were just perfectly fine. And it's little things.
Yeah.
But that was a good angle because all I was thinking about was the fact that this could have just led into conversations on and on.
That's why I got
But
you,
I made a
babe.
decision
I got you.
that I was not even going to bring up that I had done a Spartan race. I said, you know what, Jalen? We're just not even going to bring it up. It could have just been a friendly conversation. It could have been nothing happened. I'm not saying I have zero control. Like, if I started talking, I would have fell in love with this woman. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying I chose to put an extra barrier in place where I say, you know what? She didn't even know I ever done this.
But that's called discernment.
I'm going to keep this to myself.
Discernment.
She's going to run this race. She's going to be fine. And ain't got nothing to do with me. And that was the case. I never developed a relationship with this girl in any kind of way.
Yeah, and in opposite, I am a jokester. And when it comes to guys, like I was telling you, I said, I kind of sometimes can hang out with dudes faster than girls sometimes. And not because...
So they ain't just me then. So I'm saying it wasn't just me with having a lot of female friends being flirty.
No, but I'm not flirty.
But you're joking.
I'm not flirty.
But that's how you get to a man.
But I'm joking.
You become friends.
Okay. First
of all, go ahead.
First of all, is that I'm a hardcore joker person.
Yeah, more so than me. Yeah.
More so than my husband. My husband's he's pretty straight collar.
Pretty
right?
serious.
He's a pretty serious person, and don't get me wrong. We do laugh together. We have fun. We joke each other. But he's a bookworm. He lives in outer space. When on his downtime, he's in outer space. he's got a book, and he's good with very simple things. Me, I like
Simple
to I like to joke. So in our circle of friends that we both share, okay, 'cause I don't have any male friends that aren't friends with you, but I joke the men, and when I say joke, but we have a banter.
Yeah.
So I tend to develop this banter between men. I don't know why, but I don't know. It just
Because-
seems to happen.
Because
Maybe
I'm
just
not trying to be offensive here, but typically if you joke that hard with women, y'all get offended and get mad at
Yeah.
each other. Men can take it. a little
Because
bit better.
girls are sensitive. You know, girls are sensitive. You can't joke a girl about their appearance.
But the reason
or
you're
nothing
this
like
way
that.
is because you and your brother are that way.
Yeah, me and my
you
brother.
Your brother joke, y'all banter real hard.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's where it came from.
It
And
really-
that's where your
yeah.
ability to do that with
And
with
my
men
dad
came
was that
from.
way too. Like it was
Yeah.
the nature of our relationship. So I grew up that way, and so that's how I express my love
Mhm.
for people. Is if I feel comfortable with you,
Yeah.
I will engage in that type of behavior with you.
Yeah.
So, but I have to keep it under check. Believe it or not, you know, even people don't think I do, but I have to keep it under check, and
Yeah.
I can't let it get so far because it could open up a situation where that person may think, oh, she got feelings for me, or inappropriate conversation,
Yeah.
or something
Because
like
when you
that.
build camaraderie with someone,
Yeah,
like
it's
relationships don't happen
camaraderie.
overnight. I mean, some people, yeah, they just walk out, find somebody off the street, and sleep with them,
Because
and
they
that you
hoes.
cheat.
They
That
hoes.
happens. But in most cases, when you have good marriages where there's still a breakdown, there's infidelity, it's the progression.
Yeah.
There's camaraderie that was built, and that's why I didn't engage in that conversation with
Yes.
that young woman, because that would have. It would have built a camaraderie around a shared interest.
Yeah.
And the next day she could have came back and she could have started talking
Yeah.
about all her different stuff she's training, the outfits she getting. She could have been like, hey, let me text you this. Because I could tell she was a bubbly personality and was just kind of, free spirited. And I could have been like, trying to be nice, be like, oh, okay, well, here's my phone number. And if you need anything, shoot me a text. And it could have just kept going and going and going and going. And so same when you're talking about, like, you got to say, okay, here's the line. And it's up to you what you set that line to be.
Yeah.
But for me, nothing is too extreme, because the main thing that matters is protecting this relationship.
Exactly.
That's all that matters. It's protecting the integrity
Exactly.
of this marriage. And so something's got to be exclusive. It's got to be exclusive. And don't be so, I mentioned before, don't be so fast to get dissatisfied with your spouse when you weren't dissatisfied with them before. Sometimes you got to stay off of these trends on social media. Because you see these couple trends, and then they be like,
Oh, yeah.
and your
Instagram can
spouse
set you up,
ain't the
man.
type to do a trend with you, so now you mad and dissatisfied with your man because he won't do the trend with
Yeah.
you. Or you see these really, everybody do these promiscuous trends where the woman will be like, oh, I'm a walk up with my husband naked while we playing video games, and you're thinking, my wife ain't never done that for me, man. And then now you're dissatisfied. Before you got on TikTok, you weren't dissatisfied with your spouse. But you
Exactly.
got on TikTok and you saw somebody do something for the gram. You saw them do it for the views, and now you're dissatisfied with your spouse over something that you weren't even thinking about before. Don't let the devil do that to you.
Exactly, don't.
Don't let him whisper in your ear like that. Again, that's that whole serpent thing. Like, don't let him tell you that something is suddenly it ain't good enough what you got.
Exactly.
A lot of relationships would be a lot more safe. A good boundary, turn on social media. Stop scrolling, because you can be happy with your spouse. An hour later after scrolling, have 10 things that you got as a problem with you because you're hearing somebody else's story,
Yeah.
somebody else's issue, or you seeing something a little like the grass is greener.
I
You
mean,
just heard of a
but
social media
yeah.
couple. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never watched their content. I think you said you saw some of
Yeah.
their stuff, but they were pretty big and popular. They got kids and everything, and they were couple goals for a lot of people apparently. But now they're talking about divorce because he cheated on her. This is the story. Now I don't know this to be true
Yeah.
because I don't know them like that, but he cheated on her. But it's like, if y'all had such a perfect goal, a perfect marriage, y'all had the perfect Instagrammable marriage, but something was broken, something was missing for him to feel like he should go outside the marriage. Now, there is no real reason to cheat on anybody. Like, seriously, cheating is just no good at all. But if you would sit down and talk with him, I'm sure he got a list of reasons as to why he did what he did. And in any case, it is marriage neglect. Now, I'm not blaming her for his infidelity. I'm just saying that sometimes we get so busy chasing these goals and this look that we neglect the good that we actually have. You know, it's a long time ago, we tried vlogging, and we did it for a good little stint, but we realized this vlog life is stressful.
Yeah.
And having to always perform in front of a camera, gotta always show your life and try to have content that people want. Cause people want sensational stuff. You know, they want to know all your stuff. And we just got to a point. I remember like the last day we just said, you know what, this ain't for us. We can't do it because for one, we're not fake people. We can't just make something happen just for the sake of having something sensational for the camera. So, cause we're not fake people. What you see is what you really, really get. Like honestly, we're sitting on that couch. This is my shirt. I'm in leggings. This is how we do.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people are living a fake life. So don't be chasing people relationship goals. Don't make them relationship goals and don't really know.
Don't chase our relationship goals.
Please
don't. You don't know what's going on behind the scene. You know,
we're good.
We have a good we have a good marriage, but I mean, a lot of times we'll tell a story like that. But with times we had an argument or something like that, and it's like you don't know that's going on. You're thinking, man, they got it perfectly. If only my wife was like Casey. If only my husband was like Jalen. Nah, you probably wouldn't be able to handle me. You wouldn't enjoy me if you was actually married to me, and the same thing with vice versa. Because
God built me for Jalen. I'm gonna tell you right now, God built me for him. I'm custom designed for my husband because I don't think a lot of women would be able to handle him at all. As he's productive, he had all these things, but he got some stuff.
Yeah,
he has some dark stuff that what makes him who he is right now is a result of him growing and developing out of that dark stuff. Like it's some stuff, and if I was to share it with you, which I'm not because we're talking about boundaries here, but it's like I was built for my husband, and I don't say that arrogantly, but this is what happened in that season of singleness that I submitted to the Lord. God was building me for this man right here because he knew what his good was, his potential, but he also knew what his darkness was. And everybody couldn't handle that. Everybody couldn't protect that. I couldn't be a woman that gossiped and cried and revealed everything, every fault that he had and every time he got on my nerves. Nope. Couldn't be that kind of person. I had to protect this man while he was still developing, while God was still working on him. And I had to be a person that guarded that. It's very, very important because you got to be as good of a wife or good as a spouse when they're in their good and when they're in their bad. And that's just the truth and honest of the thing.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. So protect the spouse. So what point was that? We were talking about exclusivity, privacy. Oh, and the final thing is jealousy. And it's a good thing. You got to respect your spouse's jealousy. Now, I always got to break this down because a lot of people think
my husband's very jealous of me.
Yeah, for you.
You
can't be jealous.
Well, maybe you are.
We use the words wrong.
Yeah. So
jealousy is not a sin because it says that God's name is jealous and God is jealous for us. So a lot of times we mix up jealousy and envy. Envy is when you want something that belongs to somebody else. It don't belong to you. Envy is sin because you're coveting something.
Sometimes you do want my stuff.
But jealousy that you have for someone is your passion for what belongs to you.
Yeah.
So God is jealous for us because we belong to him. So he don't like it when we worship other gods. That's his jealousy.
And that's a good thing.
So you have a jealousy for your spouse. You got to respect your spouse's jealousy. It's a righteous indignation.
That's true.
And so, husband, if your wife comes to you and says, that heifer over there, I don't like her. You can't talk to her. Okay. You write the rules on that. She writes the rules on my relationships with females. If there's somebody that she's just like, nah, I don't got to agree. I respect her jealousy. I do. And because I respect her jealousy, that puts her in a safe place of safety and security to not be concerned about me.
Yeah.
Because right now, her antennas are up just for the threat that she perceives in somebody else. But if I'm hemming and hawing and pushing against her, now her senses got to be up against me. Like, okay, well, why? Why aren't you?
That is the most annoying thing when I see a man or woman fight for the right to talk to somebody outside a relationship.
Yeah.
What did she do wrong to you? She just being nice, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, I don't like her. Well, you just being in such and such. You just did whatever. You just whatever. You're just jealous. Yes, I am jealous. And whatever her reasons are, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
And listen, there have been times where maybe my reasons for being like I don't like her was stemmed out of insecurity that I have.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's your insecurity too.
Here's my problem. Part of my place as a husband is to bring security to your life.
Exactly.
And by ignoring what you're saying and continuing to indulge in a relationship that's making you feel insecure, I am forsaking my responsibility as a husband to bring security to your
Yeah,
life.
exactly.
Now, yes, if there's an area you need to grow up in and something like that, yeah, and I can assist you with that, but I can't do that while indulging in something
exactly.
that's got your alarms up. Like you got to bring safety.
Exactly.
Okay, let's say there's an abused dog and you adopt them.
An abused dog and you adopt them. Okay.
Yeah, but before you can start training them all the rules of your household, like sit and fetch on stuff, you got to make them feel safe first. Because right now, they see every human being as a threat because they came out of an abusive household. So you got to do everything you can to make them feel like, put the alarms down, put the fight or flight response down. You are safe now. Only after you have brought them a sense of safety can you now begin to train them. So husbands and wives are trying to train each other out of their insecurities and their faults, but you haven't even given them security yet. You haven't given them safety yet. Until they feel safe, they're going to be on high alert. Until they're safe, they're not going to change. And you got to bring security to your spouse first before you can start trying to coax them along into changing aspects that need to be changed.
Exactly.
It's just as simple as that.
It's very simple, but I found a lot of people just fighting like that. Like if you have checked me, say, don't say that to that person like that again.
Yeah.
If you've done that, and again, sometimes we just we lose ourselves in the momentum of
Yeah.
our conversations. And like I said, I'm a joker sometimes, and I joke, and you just like don't say that. And I'm like, well, why not? But you'll tell me, I was like, okay, I won't do that again. And it's not a fight. It's because this is my husband. This is the only man I want to be with for the rest of my life. Okay, and if he don't like it, and this is not, well, you should be able to do whatever you want. Nope, I'm sorry, that's not marriage.
Nope.
Just
Neither
like
one of us can do whatever we
nope.
want.
you can't do whatever you want, and not in marriage.
Nope.
Not a good one. It ain't like that. So yes, I do have to consider my husband's feelings about things, and vice versa.
Exactly. Bring safety security to your spouse because then they become vulnerable and open up. And if you don't bring security to your spouse, they may end up seeking security from someone else.
Yeah.
That's another way
Yeah.
that infidelity comes into place because you're not making your relationship secure or making them feel safe with you. People seek out safety.
Yeah.
Men do too. It's a little bit different for how men seek it out. Most times we get our safety and security through approval and affirmation. So if our woman's always nagging us or just telling us everything we're doing wrong, but then there's a woman on the workplace who just praises us and thinks we're the greatest thing since sliced bread, that's our security. So we end up gravitating towards that. And next thing you know, 6 months down the road, you cheated because you were gravitating towards that security. So you got to explain what it is for women. But if you're not getting security in your relationship, you end up seeking it out from somebody else because people need these things to live. It's like breathing. It's like water and oxygen. There's certain things people need to function properly, and we seek it out. And it's like, and you can tell your spouse, again, you never blame the other person for stepping outside a relationship. You never do. It's the person's responsibility to make the right choices. However, you can create a bad environment. And if oxygen and water are necessary to live, and there's no water in the house, and you refuse to provide your spouse with water, every day you keep denying them water, it gets more and more likely and harder for them to not run out of that house and go find water somewhere else.
Yeah.
So you can contribute to the environment in which your spouse makes the wrong decision, although the decision is still on them. So a lot of times we ignore the needs of our spouse, whatever that may be, and they may be communicating it. But whatever your spouse is communicating to you, you ignore it because it's not your need, and you think they'll get over it. But if you keep denying it, you're asking them to survive without water and without food, and without oxygen. And because it's not your oxygen, you're just like, they'll get over it. But they won't.
Yeah, they won't get over it. And that's why communication is so important.
Yeah.
Communication is also a key to creating the proper boundaries. Like for instance, go back to you like Spartan races, you like that kind of challenges. I'm not big into those types of challenges. So am I supposed to just adapt and do that to make you feel safe, secure, and seen and heard, even if though it's something that I just don't like? I think in some situations, yes, you need to grow and learn. There's certain things like the kind of industry that you worked in, I had no interest in whatsoever, but you would come home and tell me everything, and I would just listen. And eventually I got so good at listening, I would keep track and ask you about certain people, certain things, and I will almost anticipate hearing your story. It was almost like a soap opera at some point. I'm like, oh, this is good. So what happened to so and so? So it's like you can develop into a person that can feed into what your spouse needs, even if it's not your thing.
Yep.
Now, will I ever do a sparring race with you? Never say never. But thank God Almighty that our group of friends, there are people in there that is willing to be adventurous with you. I remember we went on a friends trip, and there was a particular ride that you and a friend went on because y'all like roller coasters and do crazy stuff. I said, thank God, because I am not a roller coaster person. But you had that, and it was a male friend that he was able to do those things with. So I'm thankful that God sends people to help fill in those gaps within safe boundaries again.
Yeah.
You know,
and there's enough. There are certain things that are like non-negotiables for you. Like, if I'm gonna get you in sparring race, probably not. And I'm not super like passionate about it anyway. But there's enough things that we do together that we do connect on that helps that makes that satisfies those needs. Like we weight lift together, we power lift together, we do a lot of things together. We watch anime together. There's lots of things we do together that the things that I'm interested in solo. Are few and far in between.
Yeah, we don't have to like everything the same way.
And a lot of times, you'll still listen. Like, there's times when I'm reading a book and I sit, like I think this happened last night, and I decided to just dump on you what was happening
in
and
the
stuff
middle
like that.
of me editing.
And I knew for a fact by looking at your face that you really weren't that interested in what I was saying, probably weren't grasping all of it, but you listened. And I just cared that I could share it with somebody because I just wanted to get it out and think about what was going on in the book and the mysteries and all that stuff. And that was enough for me, you know. So you just got to be open in those ways and connect on the things that you can connect on.
Yeah, you got to discern the moment.
Yeah. Zeus says, question: is it possible to have a like the emoji so we can zero in on your question? I like that. So is it possible to have a discussion about why your spouse doesn't like that particular person? I ask as I'm that kind of person that wants to clarify, I guess, as to what my spouse is seeing, what I'm not seeing. Yeah,
that's a good
obviously
one.
You talk to your spouse for sure. So yeah, we're going, for anybody that just jumped in, we're going back and we're talking about if your spouse has a red alert on somebody of the opposite sex and says, look, I don't want you talking to that person. And it can be levels to it. Don't talk to that person while I'm not around, or if they're not want to be friends with me, you need to cut the relationship off, or just that person's a threat, cut it off.
Sometimes, like when I would say that to you, but like, I'm not feeling her. I don't always have a real like pinpoint reason.
Yeah.
It's just more of a sensing.
Intuition.
And it's kind of like, I just want to kind of let it simmer for a minute. Let me watch it and observe. I could be wrong. And I always make myself available to say, I could be wrong about what I am sensing, but I want to give us enough distance to prove that. That I'm wrong or right. But enough distance so that it won't hurt us in any kind of way.
So I'll say talk about it, but always give your spouse the sensing that, yes, got it. If that's what you want, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Curiosity, what did you see? What was the issue? But always give them, don't make it feel like it's contingent on one. Until you explain it to me, I'm going to keep doing what I want to do.
Exactly.
No, if you say no to this person, it's a hard no. I got you. You and me, we here. We're on the same side. Now let's talk about it. Because like you said, you got to know how to, I'm not saying like manipulate your spouse, but sometimes people just don't know how to talk. Like sometimes you got to know how to talk, charm your spouse a little bit. Maybe that's the wrong word, but it's like you sometimes, instead of just saying, I don't get it, explain it to me in an aggressive way, you could just say, I got you. Yeah, we're going to do that. Out of curiosity, because I missed it. Like this, you sometimes just the wording of something.
It's called reverse psychology.
I mean, yeah, but it's like,
sometimes
people,
it works.
People just lack the ability to just have any kind of finesse. And you gotta have finesse your relationship. You gotta know how to talk. You gotta sweet talk your spouse. You gotta know, like, if I say it this way, it's gonna trigger them, but let me say it this way and get them to open up. Like, look, people pay therapists to do that to them. They pay people to lay down on the couch and ask them questions in a certain way to get them to open up. People pay for the privilege to have people psychoanalyze them. Do it to your spouse. Say, you know what? If I say it this way, I'm gonna miss it, but let me say it this way. And I bet you that'll get them to open up. Like, you've been married long enough. You can do that with your spouse. Sometimes you gotta have a little bit of finesse.
But there's nothing wrong with asking for clarity as to why they feel that way.
Yeah.
And again, it goes down to just kind of sensing, discerning the moment, and like you said, practice finesse.
Yeah.
And asking your
and
questions.
if your spouse doesn't know why, or like you mentioned before, it may be from insecurity, regardless, the answer is still, I'm going to abide by what you, because if they're ever going to grow up in that area, it's only after you give them security. Because if they feel unsafe, the moment you say, yeah, I got you, they'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that. I expected this to be a battle.
Yeah.
Wow. And then maybe they'll go back and be like, you know what? Maybe I'm being a little too hyper or whatever like that. Maybe I saw something that I wasn't there. And even then, if they come back to you, what I'm saying, but even then they come back to you and be like, hey, look, I was just feeling insecure or whatever. You can still, really want to be going outside, still say, you know what, I feel you, but you know what, I'm gonna honor it anyway. Man, that might make your spouse melt right there.
I'm 100% secure that my husband got eyes for me. Like I believe that 100,000%. But some females, nope.
The heifer spirit is real.
The heifer spirit is real. I see you. I smell you. No, ma'am.
And women are much better at that than men.
No, ma'am. And you can say what you want to say about me, but this is mine, and you can't talk.
You're right.
Like look, even my son, I got little girls be trying to talk to him and saying stuff. I'm like, not these baby heifers. Oh no, sir, no, ma'am.
Sometimes these grown women heifers be weird.
Oh my gosh, I gotta teach my son at 5 to run. Oh my gosh, but I tell you, protect your marriage because it's the most important thing. It's the greatest investment you have is your marriage, okay? Because from it will come the abundance of God. Like it can change communities, it can change governments having good marriages. We believe that if everybody had a good marriage, can you imagine the kind of world we would have right now?
We'll still be in Eden. Still be in the garden.
We'll still be in the garden. You're absolutely right. But protect your marriage at all costs because it is an investment. And if you're going to stay, do it right. Protect it. Keep it from evil. You know, be prayerful. Be a praying woman. Be a praying husband. Invest in your spouse. And if you're going to do that much investment, protect it. Put an insurance policy because putting boundaries is like having an insurance policy.
Exactly.
On your relationship.
Exactly. 100%.
100%.